Welcome back to Ravens Today. I'm your host, Connor Gioffreda, giving you all the latest updates on anything and all things Ravens. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's dive into the latest for you. So, injury updates for you all. Obviously, Lamar Jackson's not practicing, or didn't practice yesterday. Not surprising there. I don't think we'll see him until after the bye. Ronnie Stanley returned to practice, and Kyle Hamilton returned to practice. And new safeties, Lohi Gilman, who we just acquired the other day, mentioned that in my previous video, and CJ Gardner-Johnson were practicing as well. So I guess we're picking up some guys. It's good to have our left tackle back and good to have our star safety, free safety back. But brings up the topic that Lamar Jackson did not practice. Patrick Ricard still is not practicing. Just for the love of everything, just place Ricard on the injured reserve list. Morgan Smith has not practiced. Marlon Humphrey did not practice, and Chidobe Awuzie did not practice. We're still crippled in terms of injuries, but good that we got Stanley and Hamilton back, and hopefully this stops the bleeding a little bit. The bleeding's still there, but hopefully the wound closes a little bit in terms of defense and offense. Moving on here, so Rashad Bateman said the quiet part out loud is that we deserve the criticism. Well, that's what he says. The Ravens deserve the criticism that they've been getting. That this team isn't in any way, shape, or form the way that they should be looking. He said, and quote here, that all of this was kind of shocking. It's the team deserves what it's getting, and as for the role in the Cooper Rush interception, at the start of the third quarter last game, he had said that he thought Rush had gotten rid of the ball and he didn't realize it was heading in this direction until it was too late. He apologized to Rush and to the fans and the team for that play. You're good, bro. Like, it's not your fault you didn't see it. Things happen. It's not like you're out here falling over on the offensive line every single play and then still getting, praise from your head coach. No, dude. Made a bad read, and that's fine. That happens in any game. Nobody's perfect. But I think that he's saying the quiet part out loud that we absolutely deserve the criticism. We as in the Ravens. Because 1-4, possibly 1-5 on Sunday, depending on how the Rams team goes. I mentioned how it's going to go. I think that Stafford, if you have Stafford on fantasy, please keep him on fantasy for this game, because at this rate, he's going to get 40, 50 plus points, and Nakua is going to have a darn good day. Mind you, with our new signings with Gilman and Gardner Johnson, maybe we'll see some changes, hopefully. But again, Rashad Bateman's right. We deserve the criticism 100%, and hopefully that this changes and fast. Also, I wanted to note here that per The Athletic that Steve Bisciotti is not going to fire John Harbaugh in the middle of the season. I see why, because then you have to scramble with the coach, and it's pretty much you just say the season's over when you fire a head coach, and it puts a bad precedent on the team itself if you fire your head coach not even midway through the season. But I've been very vocal about firing John Harbaugh as soon as possible. I still think that's on the table. This offseason, we need to do that. And it allows us more time to get a head coach who gets his staff and, bonds with the team, builds chemistry with the team, and is able to make plays versus in the middle of the season. So I understand that. But again, we deserve the criticism that's coming our way, and 100% agree with Bateman on this. So moving on here. So Harbaugh did mention that Eric DeCosta has talked about looking for another pass rusher. 100% need another pass rusher at this point. You traded Alway, so okay, let's go. Okay, here's an option here, and hear me out on this. Mind you, this is just a theory, but it would skyrocket our pass rushing so much. What if we went after Brian Burns on the Giants. Hear me out. So, mind you, this trade would cost a lot, but we did up our cap space with trading Owe and got a draft pick out of it. So maybe we trade some draft capital and we use some of that space towards this trade. But hear me out. So a trade would require a major draft. When the Giants acquired Burns from the Panthers in March of 2024, they sent over a 2024 second round pick, a 2025 fifth round pick, and had to negotiate a 5-year contract worth up to $150 million with $87.5 million guaranteed. A lot of money. So again, it's a haul that we're going to ask for Burns, but we need a spark, and we need it fast. We need pressure on the quarterback. That's how I'm going to say it. Every single quarterback is off balance, whether it's Mahomes, whether it's Jackson, whether it's Allen. When you pressure a QB, it makes him scramble, and it makes him have to think on the fly. So by getting a legitimate elite pass rusher like Brian Burns, then we might be able to see a spark in this defense again. I'm just saying, I don't know if that's the case. It's just I'm thinking of it as a theory here, where if we get Burns, it would be like, yes. He's like EDC is moving the chess pieces, and he's moving them beautifully because it's what we need. We need pressure on the quarterback because our pass rush stinks. It stinks. And by getting Burns, we're able to elevate it to another level. Not to like a Super Bowl contender level, but it's elevated to what it is, what it is right now, from what it is right now to something better. Especially with Matabike out for the season, and you're saying most likely it's a career ender. Getting Burns is probably a bit. It's a gamble, but at the same time, you got to start making those decisions if you want to save the season for the Ravens. And moving on here, so I found this stat pretty funny. So the AFC Offensive Player of the Week, the majority so far, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, CJ Stroud, a majority of the AFC Offensive Players of the Week have been because they've gone up against the Ravens defense. Extremely embarrassing. Stafford might get Offensive Player of the Week in the NFC next on Sunday, but extremely embarrassing take on this here because we need to get that spark going again. We need to get that fire again so that we don't become the team, which we are right now, where awards such as Offensive Player of the Week and possibly Offensive Player of the Month is given to a team because they face the Ravens defense and the records are broken because of it. The Ravens right now are on track to let up over 700 points this season, which would be an NFL record. Not a good record either. But just throwing this out there again, we just need change. Maybe the Brian Burns thing, if that does happen, like I'm just saying that is a theory right now, but if there's something in the woodworks happening, that would be something for me. Thank you for tuning into Ravens Today. I'm your host, Connor Gioffreda. Again, subscribe to the channel, like the video. I will catch you all later.